Half an hour later the plane landed and the New York flight began to disembark. The passengers all seemed excited, a typical plane load of carefree tourists, traveling salesmen, children, and couples on their honeymoons. Flint was careful to stay out of sight of the exit ramp as he watched the stream of travelers pour into the terminal, and then finally trickle to a stop. He frowned. There was no sign of Diane or Kelly. Flint waited another 5 minutes, then started to go through the boarding gate. "Sir, you can't go through here," Flint snapped. "FAA. We have national security information about a package that is hidden in the lavatory of this plane. I was ordered to inspect it immediately." Flint was already moving toward the tarmac. As he reached the plane, the crew was beginning to depart. A flight attendant asked, "May I help you?" "FAA inspection," Flint said. He walked up the steps into the plane. There were no passengers in sight. The flight attendant asked, "Is there a problem?" "Yes. A possible bomb." She watched as Flint strode to the end of the cabin and pulled open the restroom doors. The rooms were empty. The women had disappeared. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. "They weren't on the plane, Mr. Kingsley." Tanner's voice was dangerously soft. "Mr. Flint, did you see them board the plane?" "Yes, sir." "And were they still aboard when the plane took off?" "Yes, sir." "Then I think we can safely reason that they either jumped out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean without parachutes or that they disembarked in Madrid. Do you agree with that?" "Of course, Mr. Kingsley. But thank you." "So, that means they intend to go from Madrid to France by way of San Sebastian." He paused. "They have 4 choices. They can take a different flight to Barcelona or get there by train, bus, or car." Tanner was thoughtful for a moment. "They will probably feel that buses, planes, and trains are too confining. Logic tells me that they will drive to the San Sebastian border to get into France. If—" "Do not interrupt me, Mr. Flint." "It should take them about 5 hours to drive from Madrid to San Sebastian. Here's what I want you to do. Fly to Madrid. Check all the airport rental car places. Find out what kind of car they rented, color, make, everything." "Yes, sir." "Then I want you to fly back to Barcelona and rent a car, a large one. Lie in wait for them along the highway to San Sebastian. I don't want them to reach the border. And Mr. Flint—" "Yes, sir. Remember, make it look like an accident." Chapter 35. Diane and Kelly were at Barajas, the Madrid airport. They had their choice of renting a car from Hertz, Europcar, Avis, and others, but they chose Alsa, a more obscure rental agency. "What is the quickest way to get to San Sebastian?" Diane asked. "It is very simple, Sira. Take the NL to the French border at Hondarribia, then right to San Sebastian. It is just a 4 or 5 hour drive. Gracias. And Kelly and Diane were on their way. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. When the KIG private jet arrived in Madrid, 1 hour later, Harry Flint hurried from one rental car booth to another. I was supposed to meet my sister and her girlfriend here. The girlfriend is a stunning African American and I miss them. They arrived on the Delta 920 from New York. Did they rent a car here? No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. At the ALSA booth, Flint was in luck. Oh, yes, sir. I remember them well. They do you remember what they rented? It was a Peugeot. What color? Red. It was our only. Do you have the number of the license plate? Of course. Just a moment. Flint watched the clerk open a book to look it up. He gave Flint the number. I hope you find them. I will. 10 minutes later, Flint was flying back to Barcelona. He would rent a car, watch for their red Peugeot, follow them to a place in the road where there was no traffic, run them off the road, and make certain that they were dead. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Diane and Kelly were only 30 minutes away from San Sebastian, driving along in a comfortable silence. The highway was uncrowded, and they were making good time. The countryside was beautiful. Ripe fields and orchards filled the air with the smells of pomegranate, apricot, and orange trees, and off the road were old houses, with walls covered with jasmine vines. A few minutes out of the little medieval town of Burgos, the scenery began to erupt into the foothills of the Pyrenees. We're almost there, Diane said. She looked ahead, frowned, and started to slam on the brakes. 200 feet in front of them was a burning car with a crowd gathered around it. The highway was blocked off by men in uniform. Diane was puzzled. What's going on? We're in Basque country, Kelly said. It's a war. The Basques have been fighting the Spanish government for the last 50 years. A man in a green uniform with gold and red trim and a black belt, black shoes, and black beret stepped onto the highway in front of the car and held up his hand. He pointed to the side of the road. Kelly said under her breath, "It's the ETA. We can't stop, because God knows how long they'll keep us here." The officer walked to the side of the car and approached them. "I am Captain Irati. You will please get out of the car." Diane looked at him and smiled. "I really would love to help you with your war, but we're busy fighting our own war." She slammed her foot down on the accelerator, drove around the burning car, and sped ahead, the car weaving through the screaming crowd. Kelly's eyes were closed. "Did we hit anybody yet?" "We're fine." As Kelly opened her eyes, she looked in the side view mirror and froze. A black Citroen Berlingo was behind them and she could see the man behind the wheel. "It's Godzilla," Kelly gasped. "He's following us." "What? How could he have found us so quickly?" Diane pressed the accelerator all the way to the floor. The Citroen was gaining on them. Diane looked at the double-face speedometer. One dial read, 175 kilometers an hour. The other dial read, 110 miles an hour. Nervously, Kelly said, "I'll bet you're too fast to drive at the Indianapolis racetrack." A mile ahead Diane saw the customs checkpoint between Spain and France. "Hit me," Diane said. Kelly laughed. "I was only kidding, I just hit me." Diane's voice was urgent. The Citroen was getting closer. "What are you?" "Do it now." Reluctantly, Kelly slapped Diane across the face. "No. Punch me hard." There were now only 2 cars between them and the Citroen. "Hurry," Diane shouted. Wincing, Kelly punched Diane on the cheek. "Harder." Kelly hit her again. This time, her diamond wedding ring made a gash in Diane's cheek, and blood started flowing. Kelly was looking at Diane, horrified. "I'm so sorry, Diane. I didn't mean to." They had reached the customs checkpoint. Diane braked to a stop. The border guard approached the car. "Good afternoon, ladies." "Good afternoon." Diane turned her head so that the guard could see the blood running down her cheek. He looked at it, aghast. "Sarah, what happened?" Diane bit her lip. "It's my ex-husband. He enjoys hitting me. I got a restraining order against him, but I can't stop him. He keeps following me. He's back there now. I know there's no use asking for your help. No one can stop him." When the guard turned around to scan the line of approaching cars, his face was grim. "Which car is he in?" "The black Citroen, 2 cars back." "I think he plans to kill me." "He does he?" the guard growled. "You ladies go on. You won't have to worry about him anymore." Diane looked at him tearfully and said, "Oh, thank you. Thank you." A moment later, they had crossed the border and were driving into France. "Diane." "Yes." Kelly put her hand on Diane's shoulder. "I'm so sorry about." She pointed to Diane's cheek. Diane grinned. "It got rid of Godzilla, didn't it?" She glanced at Kelly. "You're crying." "No, I'm not." Kelly sniffed. "It's the damn mascara. What you did was you're not just a pretty face, are you?" Kelly asked as she dabbed at Diane's wound with a tissue. Diane looked in the rearview mirror and grimaced. "Not anymore, I'm not. Asterisk asterisk asterisk." When Harry Flint reached the border checkpoint, the patrol H-guard was waiting. "Step out of the car, please." "I haven't time for that," Flint said. "I'm in a hurry. I have to step out of the car." Flint looked at him. "Why? What's the problem?" "We have a report that a car with this license number has been smuggling drugs. We're going to have to take the car apart." Flint glared at him. "Are you crazy? I told you, I'm in a hurry. Drugs were never smuggled." He stopped and smiled. "I get it." He reached in his pocket and handed the guard a $100 bill. "Here you are. Take this and forget about it." The border guard called out, "Jose." A uniformed captain approached. The border guard handed him the $100 bill. "This is an attempted bribe." The captain said to Flint, "Remove yourself from the car. You are under arrest for bribery. Pull over to that lot now. You can't arrest me now. I'm in the middle of and resisting arrest." He turned to the guard. "Call for a backup." Flint looked ahead at the highway and took a deep breath. The Peugeot was out of sight. Flint turned to the captain. "I have to make a phone call. Asterisk asterisk asterisk." As Diane and Kelly sped through the French countryside, the flat central plateau of the Castilian Meseta began to break up into the foothills of the Pyrenees and the Sierra de Urbasa. Diane spoke. "You said you had a friend in Paris." "Yes. Sam Meadows. He worked with Mark. I have a feeling he can help us." Kelly reached into her purse, took out her new cell phone, and dialed a number in Paris. An operator said, "KIG. Could I speak to Sam Meadows, please?" A minute later, Kelly heard his voice. "Hello. Sam, it's Kelly. I'm on my way to Paris. My God. I've been worried sick about you. Are you all right?" Kelly hesitated. "I think so." "This is a nightmare," Sam Meadows said. "I still can't believe it." "Neither can I," Kelly thought. "Sam, I have to tell you something. I believe Mark was murdered." Sam Meadows' answer sent a chill through her. "So do I." Kelly was finding it difficult to speak. "I have to know what happened. Can you help me?" "I don't think it's something we should discuss on the phone, Kelly." He was trying to make his voice sound very casual. I understand. Why don't we talk about it tonight? We can have dinner at my place." "Fine. 7 o'clock. I'll be there," Kelly said. Kelly ended the call. "I'm going to get some answers tonight. While you're doing that, I'm going to fly to Berlin and talk to people who worked with Franz Verbrugge." Kelly was suddenly silent. Diane glanced at her. What's the matter? Nothing. It's just that we're such a great team. I hate for us to split up. Why don't we go to Paris together and then? Diane smiled. We're not splitting up, Kelly. When you're through talking to Sam Meadows, you call me. We can meet in Berlin. I should have some information by then. We have our cell phones. We can stay in touch. I'm eager to hear what you're going to learn tonight. They had reached Paris. Diane glanced in the rearview mirror. No Citron. We've finally lost him. Where do you want me to take you? Kelly looked out the window. They were nearing La Place de la Concorde. Diane, why don't you turn the car in and be on your way? I can get a taxi here. Are you sure, partner? I'm sure, partner. Be careful. You too. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. 2 minutes later, Kelly was in a taxi, on the way to her apartment, eagerly looking forward to going home again. In a short while, she would meet Sam Meadows at his apartment for dinner. When the taxi pulled up in front of Kelly's apartment building, she felt a deep sense of relief. She was home. The doorman opened the door. Kelly looked up and started to say, "I'm back, Martin," and stopped. The doorman was a complete stranger. "Good evening, madam." "Good evening. Where is Martin?" "Martin no longer works here. He quit." Kelly was taken aback. "Oh. I'm sorry. Please, madam, allow me to introduce myself. I am Jerome Mallow." Kelly nodded. She walked into the lobby. A tall, thin stranger was standing behind the reception desk, next to Nicole Paradis. The stranger smiled. "Good evening, Madam Harris. We have been expecting you. I am Alphonse Gerard, the concierge." Kelly looked around, puzzled. "Where's Philippe Sandra?" "Ah. Philippe and his family moved to somewhere in Spain." He shrugged. "Some business deal, I believe." Kelly felt a growing sudden sense of alarm. "And their daughter?" "She left with them. Did I tell you that my daughter has been accepted at the Sorbonne? It's a dream come true." Kelly tried to keep her voice steady. "When did they leave?" "A few days ago, but please, do not worry, madam. You will be taken good care of. Your apartment is all ready for you." Nicole Paradis, sitting at her desk, looked up. "Welcome home." But her eyes were saying something else. "Where is Angel?" "Oh, your little dog." Philippe took her with him. Kelly was fighting a wave of panic. Where is Angel? Oh, your little dog. Philippe took her with him. Kelly was fighting a wave of panic. She was having trouble breathing. Shall we go now, madam? We have a little surprise for you in your apartment. I'll bet you have. Kelly's mind was racing. Yes, just 1 minute, Kelly said. There's something. I forgot to pick up. Before Gerard could say anything, Kelly was outside, hurrying down the street. Jerome Mallow and Alphonse Gerard stood on the sidewalk, looking after her. Caught off guard, it was too late to stop her. They watched her get into a taxi. My God! What have they done with Philippe and his family, and with Angel? Kelly wondered. Where to, mademoiselle? Just drive. Tonight I'm going to find out what's behind all this, Kelly thought. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. In his apartment, Sam Meadows was finishing a phone conversation. Yes, I understand how important it is. It will be taken care of. I'm expecting her in a few minutes for dinner. Yes, VE already arranged for someone to dispose of her body, thank you. That's very generous of you, Mr. Kingsley. As Sam Meadows replaced the receiver, he looked at his watch. His dinner guest was due to arrive any minute. Chapter 36. When Diane arrived in Berlin at the Tempelhof airport, there was a 15-minute waiting line for a taxi. Finally, it was Diane's turn. The driver smiled. Wohin. Do you speak English? Of course, Fraulein. Kempinski Hotel, please. J.A. Wall. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. 25 minutes later, Diane was checking into the hotel. I would like to hire a car and driver. Certainly, Fräulein. He looked down. Your baggage. It's coming. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. When the car arrived, the driver asked, Where do you wish to go, Fräulein? She needed time to think. Just drive around for a while, please. God. There is much to see in Berlin. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Berlin was a surprise to Diane. She knew that it had been bombed almost out of existence in World War II, but what she saw now was a bustling city with attractive, modern buildings and a brisk air of success. The street names seemed so odd to her: Windscheidstrasse, Regensburger Strasse, Lzaufer. As they drove, the driver explained the history of the parks and buildings, but Diane was not listening. She had to speak to the people where Frau Verbrugge had worked and find out what they knew. According to the internet, Franz Verbrugge's wife had been murdered and Franz had disappeared. Diane leaned forward and said to the driver, Do you know where a computer cafe is? Certainly, Fraulein. Would you take me there, please? It is excellent. Very popular. You can get any information you want there. I hope so, Diane thought. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. The Cyberlin Cafe was not as large as its counterpart in Manhattan, but it seemed just as busy. As Diane walked in the door, a woman came from behind the desk. "We will have a computer available in 10 minutes. I want to speak to the manager," Diane said. "I am the manager." "Oh. And what did you want to see me about?" "I wanted to talk to you about Sonia Verbrugge." The woman shook her head. "Frau Verbrugge is not here." "I know," Diane said. "She's dead. I'm trying to find out how she died." The woman was regarding Diane intently. "It was an accident. When the police confiscated her computer, they found a sly expression came over her face. If you will wait right here, Fraulein, I will call someone who can help you. I will return quickly." As Diane watched her hurry around the back, she was filled with a sudden sense of unease. When the woman was out of sight, Diane rushed outside and got into the car. There was going to be no help there. "I have to talk to Franz Verbrugge's secretary." At a telephone kiosk, Diane got the number of KIG and dialed. "KIG Berlin." Diane said, "Could I speak to Franz Verbrugge's secretary, please?" "Who is calling?" "This is Susan Stratford." "One moment, please." In Tanner's office, the blue light had flashed on. Tanner smiled at his brother. "That's Diane Stevens calling. Let's see if we can help her." He put the call on speakerphone. The voice of the KIG operator said, "His secretary is not here. Would you like to speak to his assistant?" "Yes, please." "Just a moment." A female voice came on. "This is Heidi Frank. May I help you?" Diane's heart began to beat faster. "This is Susan Stratford. I'm a reporter with the Wall Street Journal. We're doing a story on the recent tragedies that have happened to some employees at KIG. I wonder if I could have an interview with you. I don't know, just for some background information." Tanner was listening intently. "What about lunch? Are you free today?" "I'm sorry, no." "Dinner, then?" There was hesitation in her voice. "Yes, I suppose I could do that." "Where would you like to meet?" "There is a fine restaurant called Rockendorf's. We could meet there." "Thank you." 8:30. 8:30. Diane replaced the receiver, smiling. Tanner turned to Andrew. "I've decided to do what I should have done in the first place. I'm calling Greg Holliday to handle the matter. He's never failed me." He looked at Andrew. "He has an inflated ego. He charges an arm and a leg, but he smiled thinly, he'll deliver an arm and a leg." Chapter 37. As Kelly approached the door of Sam Meadows' apartment at 14 Rue du Barg de Bourg, in the 4th arrondissement, she hesitated. Now that the chase was drawing to a conclusion, she was finally going to get some answers. She found herself drawing back, afraid to hear them. Kelly rang the doorbell. The moment the door opened and she saw Sam Meadows, her fears went away. All she felt was pleasure and relief at seeing this man who had been so close to Mark. Kelly. He cradled her in a warm bear hug. "Oh, Sam." He took her hand. "Come on in." Kelly stepped inside. It was a charming two-bedroom apartment, in a building that had once belonged to a member of the French nobility. The drawing room was spacious and luxuriously appointed with French furniture, and in a small alcove, there was a curiously carved oak bar. On the wall was a Man Ray, and Adolphe Wolfley drawings. "I can't tell you how devastated I am about Mark," Sam said awkwardly. Kelly patted his arm. "I know," she whispered. "It's unbelievable." "I'm trying to find out what happened," Kelly said. "That's why I'm here. I hope you can help me." She took a seat on the couch, filled with a sense of anticipation and apprehension. Sam's face darkened. "No one seems to know the full story. Mark was working on a secret project. He was apparently collaborating with 2 or 3 other employees at KIG. They say he committed suicide." "I don't believe it," Kelly said vehemently. "I don't either." His voice softened. "And do you know the main reason?" "Because of you." Kelly looked at Sam, puzzled. "I don't understand. How could Mark ever leave someone as lovely as you? How could anyone ever leave someone as lovely as you?" He was moving closer. "What happened is a great tragedy, Kelly, but life has to go on, doesn't it?" He put her hand in his. "We all need someone, don't we? He's gone, but I'm here. Your kind of woman needs a man." "My kind of?" "Mark told me how passionate you are. He says you love it." Kelly turned to him in surprise. Mark would never have said that. He would never have discussed her like that with anyone. Sam put one arm around her shoulders. "Yes. Mark told me you really had to have it. He used to tell me how great you were in bed." Kelly was suddenly panic-stricken. Sam said, "And Kelly, if it makes you feel any better, Mark didn't suffer at all." And she looked into Sam Meadows' eyes and she knew. "We'll be having dinner in a few minutes," Sam said. "Why don't we work up an appetite in bed?" Kelly felt suddenly faint. She managed to force a smile. "That sounds great." Her mind was working furiously. He was too big for her to fight, and she had nothing to fight him with. He began fondling her. "You know you've got a great ass, baby." "I go for that," Kelly smiled. "Do you?" She sniffed. "I'm hungry. Something smells good. Our dinner." Before he could stop her, Kelly got up and moved toward the kitchen. As she passed the dinner table, she got a shock. The table had been set for one. Kelly turned. In the drawing room, Sam was walking over to the door and turning the key in the lock. She watched him put the key in the drawer of an armoire.